The Middle of the Pack podcast.
Josh Kerr has got a world record in the 1 mile from Hey! Woo! That is amazing.
Welcome to the Middle of the Pack podcast on tour to the Diamond League London. Yeah!
Welcome to episode 51 of the Middle of the Pack podcast. And there you heard Graham Meikle and his introduction to an episode that is just full of excitement, full of recollection, and all about an event which was the first Middle of the Pack podcast on tour to London, where myself and 6 or 7 others from Eagle AC, I think one member wasn't, but you never know, went to the Diamond League in London at the Olympic Stadium, home of West Ham, where the highlight of the day was witnessing Josh Kerr break the world record in the 1 mile race. It was a fabulous, fabulous day out. I have all of the people that came with me. I have a little voice note just describing their interpretation of the day, their feelings around the day, and Graham introduced the show but has a voicemail coming later on as well. For those of you that aren't aware or know about the Diamond League, it is an amazing event. And there are around, well, I suppose it is the highest level of annual one-day competition in international athletics, track and field. It's kind of sports equivalent of a regular season for the world's best athletes, where Olympic and World Championships medalists compete against each other throughout the year. There's about 15 meetings. Now, don't ask me where they all are, but they are definitely across Europe, Asia, Middle East, and North America. And the athletes compete in events such as the 100 meters, the 200 meters, the 800 meters, I think the 1500 meters, the mile, the hurdles, the jumps, the throws, and the relays. And competitors earn points based on their finishing positions, and the top athletes in each discipline qualify for the Diamond League final, where the winner is crowned the champions or the Diamond League champion. It is really important because it attracts Olympic champions, world record holders, the fastest and best athletes in the world. And many athletes kind of use it to test themselves against the best, earn prize money, improve world ranking, chase national records and world records, as we witness. And because the fields are so strong and races are paced for fast times, many world records have been set at Diamond League meetings. We went to the London one on Saturday, last Saturday, and it was held at the London Stadium. And the Diamond League regularly attracts over 50,000 spectators. But this year's meeting in London was especially anticipated because Josh Kerr targeted the mile world record as part of his Project 222. That's the time in seconds that he was trying to achieve. And it brought huge attention to the event. For runners, it's one of the best opportunities each year to watch the world elites compete in a festival of athletics, with everything from sprint finals to distant races and the field events. Really, it's all packed into one afternoon, and it's really fabulous just to be there and to witness everything that's going on, because while they're setting up a race, the high jump is still going on, the discus is still going on, the long jump is still going on, and it is really, really an amazing thing to witness. As middle of the pack runners, we can only dream to ever hit that pace, but it does show you the dedication that these elite runners put into their distance or their field. But it's also good to watch them running, and as a fan of athletics and accompanied by 50 to 60,000 fans of athletics, it was just a great day out, and something I wouldn't do regularly. I think the last time I was at a big race meeting was years ago when the Commonwealth Games were in Australia. But I would be a regular attendee at GAA matches and soccer matches. The last time I was at the London Stadium was for a West Ham match. But certainly, I would think about going to another Diamond League meeting, because it easily topped all of the things that I'd seen. Now, obviously, if Cork won an All-Ireland in hurling or football, that would be a pretty spectacular thing to witness. And if I was ever at a West Ham game where they were achieving cup glory, that would probably be fantastic. But I have to say, as you might have heard in my introduction, the excitement in my voice after witnessing the amazing attempt by Josh Kerr. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later on. But now I just want to have Dennis Brown give you his thoughts and feelings on being at the Diamond League.
Hi, Padraig. Dennis Brown here. Just a quick message. First, to say how much I enjoy your show every week. Well done. Keep up the great work. And also, just to say how much my wife Mary and myself enjoyed the Diamond League in London. It was my first big athletics meeting attending, apart from our own city sports, of course. And it's as close as I will get to going to the Olympics at this stage. Just could not keep my eyes off everything that was going on. It was a fabulous event with some great performances from the Irish, in particularly Mark English, winning a PB in the 800 metres in a great race and finishing second. Sarah Healy finished third with a great run and a PB. And of course, Ola Comerford, who's always fantastic. Highlight, of course, was the mile record being broken by Josh Kerr. It was a privilege to be there. The whole crowd were on their feet, willing him to break the record. And when he did, there was an explosion of noise in the stadium, which was unbelievable, just brilliant. It was great for us all then to meet up afterwards for the post-event drinks organised by Seamus from Trackside Tours, who I would highly recommend to anybody if you want to get good tickets. And he organises the weekend as well for you. Very memorable weekend overall, spent with great friends. Hopefully we'll do it again sometime.
And over to Pat Ryan next for his summary of the day.
Hi, Padraig. I thought the London Diamond League was a fantastic event. It was non-stop action for 3 hours, really. There was great field. It seemed like every race had some of the world-leading athletes. The highlight for me was obviously the mile, but I think the men's 800 was a really great race with Mark English setting a PB.
It's interesting that both Dennis and Pat mentioned Mark English. I'm sure the others did as well, but we'll just coming in on this point now, because while everyone was watching Josh Kerr chase history in the mile, Irish athletics quietly made history too. Mark English became the first athlete ever to dip under 1 minute 43 seconds for 800 metres. And at 33, he's proving that sometimes your best years don't come at 23. They come after a decade of learning your craft. He's from Letterkenny in County Donegal, where he came to prominence as a junior athlete. He's a qualified medical doctor, and he won the European 800 metres bronze outdoor in 2014, the European indoor silver in 2015, and the European indoor bronze in 2019, establishing himself as one of Ireland's most consistent championship performers. In 2025, he became the first Irishman to run under 144. And in 2026, he has gone another step further by breaking 143. Isn't that amazing? And earlier this season, he also claimed his first Diamond League victory, winning the 800 metres in China at 143.85. And that was amazing because he kind of came from nowhere and it was brilliant. He is definitely really running on form at the moment. But I think at an age where many 800 metres have already retired or passed their peak, Mark English is running faster than ever, and it shows that with smart training, consistent coaching and experience, we can all continue well into our 50s, 60s, 70s, 30s, 40s, whatever it might be. Smart training, consistent coaching, and gaining experience through races and through long runs. And as we always say, keeping your easy runs easy and your long run long. Let's hear from the ladies' captain of Eagle AC next, Siobhan Holland.
Hi, Padraig. Siobhan Holland here from Eagle AC. So just letting you know how we get on at the Diamond League over in London on Saturday. So this is my first time going to one of the Diamond Leagues, and we'd been dilly-dallying and talking about it for a good while. And one of our buddies, Dave Butler, had been to it last year, so he was saying, "Come on, you need to come to this. It's brilliant. London has great athletes. They always have a good turnout. And so yeah, we made the plunge after one of our buddies, Dennis, had said he'd booked a VIP tickets because he's flush with the cash. So we said, right, we made the decision. A few of us, it was maybe 4 or 5 of us, decided to go. So we went over and back on the same day. We got an early morning flight and back late at night. So it was a fantastic event. The day was beautiful. Stadium, West Ham Stadium, and was lovely. Maybe not as nice as Wembley, but it was really nice setting. So the highlight of the day, Jesus, there was loads of great athletes on show. The Irish, Mark English was fantastic. He had a great run. Sarah Healy as well, even though she got boxed in during the race, she stormed home and had a great run as well. And even the Irish relay team gave a great burst of energy as well in their race. I know the girls were disqualified for false start, but yeah, they had a good run all the same. But the highlight of the day must be the mile race. Josh Kerr had lots of publicity around this, like, because he was doing his 2:22. He wanted to break the world record, and he was building himself up. He had done loads of training, and he was showing everybody his training and how it was progressing and everything. So he was a big builder to this, like. So yeah, he put himself under a lot of pressure to get the record. But oh my God, I have never ever felt the likes of in the race on the last lap. After the Pacers had kind of left him, he was close to the Pacers, and you could see the lights on the way around. And we're saying, "Oh my God, he's right on the button, like he's on the lights." And when the Pacers left, the crowd just stood up and everybody shouted. Oh my God, I was actually in tears. We could see him; he was on the other side, finishing where we were sitting, and you could see from his time came up straight away, and you could see from his reaction that he had done it. Like, oh my God, we were just elated. And yeah, geez, I was in tears myself. Like, I don't know the man, but we were there for a world record. So yeah, it was amazing. So yeah, the last race then was the 800 meters, Keely Hodgkinson and Femke Bol. It was a bit of an anticlimax. It wasn't as exciting. Mile race was the highlight of the day. But yeah, we had a great day out, great gang with us. And it's definitely worth. I definitely go back. I know that it was a lovely. The races are all on the day for this, but there's other diamond leagues that are on the evening time, and like there's like an array of them to choose from in Europe and elsewhere. But definitely worth the visit. And yeah, I definitely will be back to London because it's so easily accessible. After the races were over, we left the stadium, and one of the guys wanted to go to the West Ham store. I think things were going cheap enough there, maybe. So while we were waiting for him, we saw a lot of the athletes leaving the stadium. So yeah, it was amazing to see Mark English and a few of the sprinters, high jumpers. And we met Paula Radcliffe, got my picture with her. So yeah, she's an amazing athlete. I used to love watching her. She was running around, she was racing around the same time as Sonia O'Sullivan. And yeah, she had such a funny way of running, like, her head used to be bobbing all over the place. But yeah, she was amazing. And her record for the marathon stood for so long. Yeah, she was amazing. So it was fantastic to see her and Mo Farah. We saw him, and a lot of the athletes were in the warm-up area. But yeah, it was fantastic. And then I forgot to mention that we got invited to an Athletics Ireland VIP event, which wasn't too far far from the stadium. So we attended that. We met Hamish, who's the chairperson of Athletics Ireland. And I'm not sure if there are any other VIPs there. We missed them any if there were. But yeah, it was a lovely event, sure. Great to attend it with my buddies. And we had a fantastic day out, and it was brilliant. Well worth it.
Thanks, Siobhan, for that. And we will go over to Jane Power now for her summary of what was a fabulous day. As you must be picking up the kind of excitement in everyone's voices for what was certainly a great day. And we met loads of people at the airport, both going and coming back, and everyone had that same buzz. Nobody is from Scotland, where Josh is from, and everyone ended up just supporting him for that last lap. Everyone was on their feet. It was such an amazing occasion. But here's Jane Power now, and as I said, her kind of summary of the day and a little bit of background as to why we all went.
Hi, Padraig. Jane here. Just a little note about our trip away to the Diamond League in London on Saturday. What a day out we had. The plan was hatched from Dave Butler, who came up. He went last year, and he mentioned it. And after a long run one Sunday, we all hatched the plan that we'd go this year. So we got booking, and before we knew it, everyone had their flights booked and off we were going then on the Saturday. So it was very easy trip over, flight into Heathrow, straight over on the Elizabeth line to Westfield in Stratford, into Olympic Park, had time for coffee and everything beforehand, into the stadium. And what an atmosphere there was. 60,000 people and all the big athlete names. And of course, the highlight there, Josh Kerr breaking the world record for the mile. If you could bottle that atmosphere, oh my God. Like, as he came round on the final lap, the crowd were roaring at him and everyone rose out of their seats like a big wave and you were just all willing him home. And I'd say the crowd just carried him. It was like he was flying to the finish line. So we were there for a big moment in sport. Well, maybe small moment, big moment in sporting history. And it was actually the first time I'd done anything like that, but it gave me a taste for it. So hopefully we get to go to more Diamond Leagues in the future. Thanks now. Bye.
Thank you, Jane. And last but not least, we're going to have Graham Meikle, who introduced the show with his famous way introduction, and we'll listen to his summary of the day. This is Graham Meikle on the Middle of the Pack podcast. Now, he always says to me that I don't invite him on, and I always, any chance I can get, I do invite him on, and you'd love his contribution. And I mentioned him at the marathon as well as being someone who has a huge contribution to Cork running and the Cork athletic scene, really. And it's such a pleasure to have everybody on, but it's kind of a bigger pleasure just to have Graham on the podcast, even though it might be just under 2 minutes. And I suppose if you include the introduction, it might be a bit longer, but hopefully someday he'll sit down and have a chat that we can include him in an episode. But here is Graham Meikle and his summary of the Diamond League on Saturday.
A few months ago, after a long run in Ballycollig, we were sitting in Maccadees, and David and Dennis said they were heading over to the Diamond League in London, something we always said we wanted to go and do as a group. A few minutes later, there's a few of us had booked it. Jane, Siobhan, myself, I think Pat had booked it. And so delighted we went over to witness the world record of a mile. I don't know, it was a special thing to witness, the atmosphere in the crowd. Question is, would we go back again? Absolutely. Definitely well worth it. Whether we go London or whether we find another stadium, another location. Maybe make a weekend of it, find another event that we could maybe do ourselves while we're over. But absolutely fantastic to experience the Diamond League live. We see it on television, we see the snippets, we see the videos, but to be there in person, absolutely fantastic. Brilliant day out. Great gang too.
It certainly was. The thing that amazed me was how effortless, seamless it was just to go from Cork to Heathrow on the Elizabeth line, straight to Stratford, to the stadium. Normally, if I'm going to a West Ham match, we would go into Stansted and then you have to get the Stansted Express, you change at Liverpool Street. This was just so easy as a day return. And the thing was, after the Diamond League, we had so much time that we were, as you heard, we were at an Athletics Ireland event, which was great. So we had loads of time to catch up with everybody and just share our excitement about the day. But then we were able to nip back to the airport, plenty of time, and everyone was tired at the end of the night. But for next year, if you want to head to the Diamond League in London, it's easily done on a day trip with Aer Lingus, Elizabeth line to the stadium, watch the day, chill out, relax, have some nibbles, back to the airport, and you're back in Cork by midnight. Fabulous, fabulous. The interesting thing, everyone talks about the Josh Kerr project 222 is mentioned a few times, and Brooks, they were supporting Josh Kerr throughout this whole project. I kind of found out about this afterwards. I noticed he was wearing Brooks. If you've listened to any of our shoe episodes with Ian O'Brien, who he himself has been to Rome for a Diamond League event and didn't get to this one, but I'm sure he'll be at the next one. But we talk about shoes, and I've always kind of said I like Brooks. So when I saw Brooks on Josh Kerr's singlet, I was just curious as to see whether he was sponsored, and then I realised that they were backing him in a big way for this Project 222, which is 3 minutes 42 seconds in total, 222 seconds. And it was more than simply just supplying him with a spare pair of spikes. The company, Brooks, worked with Josh Kerr for months to optimize every single aspect of this world record attempt. They they developed a bespoke World Athletics compliant version of his racing spikes specifically for the attempt. They were engineered to maximize energy return while remaining within sports regulations. He was wearing a specially designed Brooks speed suit aimed at reducing aerodynamic drag and maximizing comfort over the mile. The Project 222 collaboration, rather than being a traditional sponsorship, Brooks helped build and market the entire project. The goal was explicit: to run the mile in 222 seconds, 3 minutes 42, to break the long-standing world record, and I won't try and pronounce his name. There was a hand-picked racing strategy, but while the Diamond League organisers provide pacers, Kerr's team worked closely on the pacing plan. His Brooks Beasts teammate, Brandon Kidder, was one of the designated pacers, along with experienced international pacer Zan Rudolph, ensuring that Kerr hit the target splits almost perfectly. And you might have heard in one of the summaries, we could see, because they had lights going along the inside of the track, we could see if he was keeping up with it. And it did feel like with 2 laps ago, he was slightly behind, but then as he went around again, we could see he was catching it. So that's why everyone just got so enthusiastic for the last lap, because we could see by him going slightly ahead of the dots that he was slightly ahead. And this was a whole season built around one race. And Brooks backed Kerr in focusing virtually his entire outdoor season on this single attempt, giving him the freedom to train, race, and prepare specifically for breaking the mile record rather than chasing multiple meetings. There has been a lot of speculation online, but there's no evidence that Brooks received any special equipment advantage beyond what is permitted under World Athletic rules. Josh Kerr still had to run in legal spikes. He still had to race in an official league event. He had to follow ratification rules and achieve the time under standard competition conditions. Everything about the attempt was fully designed to be fully ratifiable, unlike exhibition projects like Kipchoge's 1:59 challenge. This was a real, fair and square one. And interestingly, there were athletes in that race that could have beaten him. So it wasn't like that he was, just the only one that could possibly have done it. He could have lost that race, but he didn't. And he was charging ahead, motivating us all to back him. And what a wonderful, wonderful day it was. But it's not just about London. We have Ian O'Brien now, who is our regular contributor to the Shoe Review, and he's just going to give us all a 2-minute summary of what it was like being at the Rome event. So here is Ian O'Brien talking about the Diamond League in Rome.
Hey, Padraig, it's Ian. Not going to talk about shoes tonight, even though I'm your shoe correspondent, although I did buy the new Kip Storm Tempos today online, and I'm going to pick them up tomorrow, so we can chat about them the next day. Also bought Step 1 socks today, so we can chat about them too. But this is your Diamond League episode. Unfortunately, Graham didn't invite me to the London Diamond League with them, so I'm afraid I missed out on seeing world records. Don't really like watching world records, but I did go to the Rome Diamond League, and it was fantastic. I saw Noah Lyles. It was in a much better stadium than the old West Ham Stadium. It was the home of Roma and Lazio. Very spectacular, the Olympic Stadium in Rome. So it was a great day out. Much nicer city than London. So, Graham, take that. Thank you.
Yeah.
And there you have a little bit of banter between the Eagle AC members that went to various different Diamond League events. I know Ian might have had a bit of FOMO, but it does sound like the Rome event was fabulous. But as we come to the end of this week's episode, I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who took the time to send voice notes from London's Diamond League, and it was obviously in the days afterwards too. It really made, I think, this show something special rather than just hearing one person's opinion. We got to experience a day through the eyes of runners, athletic fans, and people who were actually there. So whether you were sitting high in the stands or down by the finish line or travelling over with friends and clubmates, you helped bring the atmosphere to life, and I really appreciate every single message. What struck me most listening back to them all was the sense of excitement. There was something special about the whole occasion. You could hear it in people's voices. You could hear it in my voice in the introduction to the show. The buzz before the race, the anticipation as the stadium filled, when the roar, every big name stepped onto the track. Athletics has a unique way of bringing people together. And on Saturday, that was obvious from the very first event right through to the last. Of course, the headline act was Josh Kerr. The build-up to the Project 222 captured everyone's imagination. Whether you followed every split or were simply hoping to witness history, it was one of those moments that really reminds us why we follow sport and why sport is so compelling. Even when a world record isn't achieved, watching an athlete put everything on the line in pursuit of something extraordinary is inspiring. It takes courage to publicly chase a goal that ambitious, and Josh Kerr deserves enormous credit for giving it everything in front of a packed stadium, and as I said, particularly when he had a lineup that didn't guarantee him victory, and he still went on to do it. From an Irish perspective, as you heard, we had Orla Comerford, we had Sarah Healy, but we had every reason to celebrate all of them. Even the relay teams did well, and Mark English, as you heard, produced the run of his life with a new personal best and became the first Irish athlete to break 1 minute 43 seconds for the 800 metres. That's a landmark performance and another reminder that middle distance running continues to produce athletes capable of mixing it with the very best Irish middle distance runners. His achievement may not have grabbed all the headlines, but it was every bit as significant for us as we were there with our tricolour, our green, white and gold tops, and even we had our middle of the pack podcast caps, which are green and gold. One thing that came across from everyone's messages was just how accessible the Diamond League is. Yes, you're watching Olympic champions, world record holders, but you're also close enough to really appreciate just how incredible these athletes are. The speed, the power, the tactics, the atmosphere, you simply can't fully appreciate it on television. If you've never been to a Diamond League meeting before, put it on your list. In fact, if London, and I know it is, on the calendar again next year, I'd honestly encourage you to make the trip. Make a weekend of it with your running club, a group of friends, anyone that you really would like to spend some time with. Because soak up the atmosphere with people like that, you remember why you fell in love with the sport in the first place. You don't have to be chasing Olympic dreams to enjoy watching the very best in the world do what they do. Finally, thank you once again for listening and making this such an interactive episode. The Middle of the Pack podcast has always been about ordinary runners sharing extraordinary experiences, and this week was a perfect example of that. So keep sending your stories, keep sending your questions. If you want to come on as a guest, as I said before, let me know. And this podcast is always better when your voices are a part of it. Until next time, whatever your pace, whatever your goal, wherever you're running, and wherever the long runs take you this week, remember, every pace has a place. Take care, enjoy your running, and we'll see you in the next episode of the Middle of the Pack podcast. But for this week, thanks for listening and keep on running.